Hi, welcome into Jared is Pain. This is Who Am I? What you're about to see is some content I filmed with my brother Jordan. He prepared some interview questions for me. I deemed some of the questions I wanted for my Storytime series and some of it I wanted here for the Who Am I series. And so, yeah, enjoy. Here's going to be some content that you get a little bit of a sneak peek. It's a lot of my favorite things type of content. I hope you enjoy.
Who am I?
Who am I?
It's me. Hi.
This one's top 10 favorite movies of all time. A difficult question, but you have a list.
Very difficult. I do have a list. This is not made easy, but here we go. There's some that I'm very confident deserve on the list, and I cheat a little bit. So I think Ocean's 11, the 1999 film with Clooney, Pitt, Damon, I think is my favorite movie. It's one that I've watched maybe the most, and I just feel like I could watch it nonstop. It just every scene is perfect and every line is hilarious and makes me feel good. Like when they're at the Bellagio fountain at the end, I just have this feeling like
Be good to rob somebody.
yeah, no. I just feel like peaceful and like
No,
you know,
I know what you
anything
mean.
is possible.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm gonna cheat. I really like Top Gun. Like as a kid, through teenager, through adult, that's been one of my favorite films. And then Top Gun Maverick it's probably a better film. It obviously doesn't have the same nostalgia, but I really like both those films, and I'm kind of counting it like one.
I don't know why, but this random memory of you asking family members, do you have your tickets? And then them saying what to what, and then you saying to the gun show throughout your late teens.
Yeah.
That was just connected to the Top Gun movies for me for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Even though it's not like a line
No,
from
it's
the
not.
movie. Okay, well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I don't know why. All right, next up, number 3.
Yeah, and this honestly might be number 1 or 2. I don't know. Star
No
Wars.
specific
Star
order.
Wars: Empire Strikes Back. I love the original trilogy, Star Wars, and I'd be happy to include any of them, but Episode 5 is my favorite.
Nice.
Another tricky one. I'm a big fan of the Marvel movies, especially like the Infinity Saga. And I think Captain America Winter Soldier is my favorite of the bunch. Like for sure, Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame are like more grand, but I think Winter Soldier's my favorite.
Nice.
A couple of my favorite comedies are Hot Rod and Zoolander, and they're different eras. You know, it's like 99 or 2000 or something for Zoolander, and 2007 for Hot Rod, and they do feel like distinctly different eras or comedy, even though it's not that many years apart. For me, Hot Rod's kind of the ultimate ADHD comedy, where it's like just the jokes per minute are really high, and for someone with ADHD, it really holds my attention well, but it also increases rewatchability, where there's so many jokes that you might have missed, or they just like hit differently. Like one that's really grown on me, that's like not meant to be a super funny moment, is just when they're at the jump at the end of the movie in the tent before, you know, Rod goes out and does the jump, and they're giving him the gifts, and most people probably remember like The Rock.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rico. It's number
Yeah.
1. But for me, it's the Kevin giving him the like leather bike suit, and just like, "You're gonna look like a champ, Rod." For some reason, that line just, I don't know, is extra funny. And there was even scenes or lines that I didn't appreciate the first few times I saw them, and then now they've like grown on me, and I think they're funnier.
I can handle it.
No, that was always fun. And Zoolander almost feels like the movie that like got me into comedic television or films. That kind of feels like
Right.
almost like the gateway movie that would have, prepared me for Anchorman and Dodgeball and Napoleon Dynamite and so many other good comedies to come.
And pretty formative for your group of friends,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, we used to watch the movie a lot. Next up, Interstellar.
So good.
I'm a Christopher Nolan fan. I'm maybe like starting to become less of a Christopher Nolan fan, or I guess I like maybe his more recent works a little bit less than some of his older ones, but I think Interstellar is my favorite of the bunch. I love that it's a sci-fi movie, but there's really interesting messages about family and love and time and
Fabric of the universe. And
it's like really thought-provoking, and the score is incredible, and like I feel like the score brings me to my knees, so that's up there. I wanted to have an animated movie on this list, so I went with Coco. Coco to me is like essentially a perfect movie. The animation's incredible, the story is very original, it feels like it's telling like an authentic Mexican story. The music is beautiful, and it's really an incredible film and really touching, and feels quite relevant to my current situation. Another movie that easily could have made the list was Disney's Hercules. For Jade and I, that's kind of our combined favorite animated movie, at least from when we were kids. And you know me, there's plenty of others that I love. Incredibles, Finding Nemo, Lego Movie, Emperor's New Groove. I cheated on the last one as well. I couldn't decide, so I've long been a big fan of James Bond movies. I remember when there was 3 movie stores walking distance from our house, and like when I say walking distance, I mean like 5 minutes, not even like a long walking distance. Video Update, the cheap one, Blockbuster, the mainstream one, and then Rogers Video, the like expensive one maybe. But Video Update had like a 39-cent or 29-cent movie rental, where I think it was like only one night rental for an old movie. But as a kid, that was affordable. So Daniel and I would often rent movies for weekends, and we went through a phase where we would just pick like Jackie Chan films, because those were pretty consistently like movies Mom and Dad would approve.
Who Am I?
Yeah.
That's like the only one I kind of remember.
Yeah, that would have been after he kind of got a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And old James Bond movies were films that I watched a lot of, and I own every James Bond movie on physical media. So when Casino Royale came out and relaunched James Bond kind of after the Pierce Brosnan era, it just felt so good to have like one of my favorite movie franchises like done well. Kind of like opposite of feelings about Star Wars at times. And so yeah, I love James Bond just kind of generally. Don't necessarily love the like chauvinism in old James Bonds, but new James Bonds, I'm going to take Casino Royale and Skyfall, because they're both incredible.
Very good.
Next question.
All right, I want to hear your top 5 TV shows. Another difficult one.
So anyone that's friends with me knows that I'm a big fan of like comedy television, and maybe that is evident from my movie list as well. I'm generally into lower brow media. I don't necessarily like want something that's going to teach me something. I want to be entertained, and there's certainly a large element of escapism. So comedy TV is a big one for that. Yeah, I guess most of these would be considered sitcoms. My number one TV show, kind of definitively, is Parks and Rec. It's just my favorite. And I know some people struggle with like early season 1, season 2, and I get that, and I still love the early seasons. It's a show that just, it seems to get better and better. They knew when to end it. They came up with like a really satisfying ending. There's amazing characters. I feel like I can watch it and come away with like a different favorite character each time. And it inspired my next show, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So Jordan, I don't know if you knew this, but Andy Samberg has like a pretty early guest spot on Parks and Rec where he plays the like head park ranger.
Right, yeah.
And he like,
Yeah.
he's an outdoor guy where he doesn't have an inside voice. And so he knew Amy Poehler quite well from SNL days. And she was basically pitching him, it's like, get yourself on a sitcom that, you know, can run multiple seasons because it just provides you with like the work-life balance that SNL doesn't provide. And then he got kind of burnt out when he was at SNL, and so then Brooklyn Nine-Nine was a good transition for him. I really like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's not as good of a show as Parks and Rec. Maybe falls off a little bit in the later seasons. And there's also some just aspects of policing has become more controversial and more upsetting to me personally. And so that maybe steals a little bit of the joy, but I love Andy Samberg's character. Obviously, I'm an Andy Samberg fan. If Hot Rod kind of made my list, and one of the best compliments I ever got was my friend Jill saying that every time she watches Jake Peralta, she like thinks of me, and I just don't think I'm anywhere as funny as Andy Samberg, but I do think he and I would be friends if we could meet in real life.
Yeah.
Next up is The Good Place. It's actually going to be the final show I kind of rewatch, and it is so good. It's just 4 seasons. Again, they had it kind of planned out, and the pacing's excellent, and it tackles topics that no show has attempted to tackle as far as I know, and does it with grace and does it really well, and I highly encourage kind of anyone to watch it, especially if you find yourself pondering existence or the afterlife or any of those topics. And like, it's quite funny. I think there's no show that I love the characters as much as that show. Also on the list is The Office. I know for a lot of me and my friends, The Office was maybe the first sitcom that really had us like in love with it. And for other people it might be Seinfeld or Friends or The Simpsons if you count that. But yeah, The Office is just such like a unifying pop culture phenomenon, and yeah, it deserves a place in the top 5. Also in the top 5, I'm moving away from the comedy and I'm moving to my Star Wars roots, and I'm picking Andor. Andor is expertly done and is, for the Star Wars fans that wanted like a mature Star Wars, it provides that. And it's not even that it's like explicit or anything. It tackles the like heartache and reality of what the Empire and the Rebellion would actually look like if it was a bit more real than portrayed in most of the other media. And the acting's just phenomenal, and it's very beautiful. When they have that like planetary event, I forget what it's called, but where there's all the shooting stars or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it feels so beautiful that it like, if it was in a movie, it could, win an Oscar for special effects and stuff, and it's just in a Disney Plus TV show.
Very good list. I like that list.
Next question.
Do you have a favorite book or 2 or 3 books?
I do. I have one of them up there. My favorite book is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, and this ends up being a controversial topic because lots of people like the movie or don't like the movie, and I hate the movie, and I hate the movie because I love the book, and it just isn't what I wanted it to be. But yeah, it's easily my favorite book. The sequel is okay, but not great. Ernest Cline's other book, Armada, the one up on the bookshelf behind me, or the shelf behind me, is also one of my favorite books, but maybe more in the like 5 to 10 range. When I was a teenager, my favorite book was Wrestling Sturbridge by Rich Wallace. And because I, competed in wrestling as a youth, it really spoke to me. That it's also just like a really accurate coming of age story. Funny enough, it another one of my favorite books that's also a sports book is Friday Night Lights. The movie's also one of my favorite movies, and I should have talked about it when I talked about my favorite movies. But anyways, with both Wrestling Sturbridge and Friday Night Lights, the like protagonist doesn't like win in the end. Mm-hmm. Unlike, most books or movies or media that are trying to tell a inspiring and heartwarming story. And there's something about portraying not winning in the end that just feels really authentic to me. Because winning happens, but in a league with however many competitors, there's only ever going to be one winner per season. And I experienced like a lot of winning and losing through sports. So like one year in junior high, I won provincials and cities in wrestling. So it's not like I went undefeated, but I won all the important tournaments and felt like a winner. And our team won the provincial championship because we had multiple provincial winners, including our older brother Daniel. Yeah, I got to experience winning from an early age. Before that, in grade 6, we competed as a school in the Edmonton Journal Games, which is like an 8x200 meter relay. And we like easily won the Journal Games, and I think there was like 300 to 400 schools competing in that. And so yeah, I like at a pretty early age, I saw winning come quite easily. But then I also experienced lots of losing, like grade 10 junior football. We weren't very good. We didn't have many players, so I had to play every down, both sides of the ball, and every special teams down. So I just felt tired every game, and man, I think we had one win that season. Yeah, we like went 1-8 or I don't know 1-7 or something like that. So this got a little bit of a rambly section, but
it's cool to hear about these.
I think it's valuable for young people to learn how to win gracefully and lose gracefully. It is very few athletes, do nothing but winning, right? Mm-hmm. Even as an adult playing in like ultimate frisbee leagues, there's times where we're like the worst team in whatever division. I remember one where it's like we went winless until the final game to like decide the ultimate loser of the league. And we won it and we finished like 7th instead of 8th or something stupid like that. I did catch the winning touchdown, by the way. But also in my ultimate frisbee career, I played on teams that won championships, like Edmonton Sport and Social Club, as well as Edmonton Ultimate Frisbee Association or whatever that one's called. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just important to experience both. And I don't know, the message that a lot of sports media tries to tell of like you can do anything if you set your mind to it. While there's elements of that I like, I do think that setting your mind to a goal and working hard and having high expectations for yourself, I think those are good things. But there's a lot of things out of your control, including winning, depending on the sport. Just because you don't win, it shouldn't be viewed as like a waste. And I think both Wrestling Sturbridge and Friday Night Lights, that's at the core of the message, is that the process of competing can lead to people finding themselves and maturing and even building confidence, despite in the end not winning.
It's a good message.
Rant over.
Nice. All right.
Hey, welcome back. We took an unexpected break. It is the next day, thus different clothes. But on to the next question.
Your favorite teams, and I kind of wanted to hear like favorite sporting event that you've been to.
Sounds good. So, anyone that knows me well knows that football's kind of my sport, but I also just like sports. There's very few sports that would be on TV that I'm like, nah. I like bowling and darts and NASCAR. I even like racing. Like, I enjoy F1 and Supermoto and stuff. But so my NFL football team is the Carolina Panthers. See right there. And I also really like college football, and since there's so many teams and so many leagues, I have more than one team that I cheer for. And then on college basketball, I also kind of cheer for the same teams in addition to Gonzaga Bulldogs, the Zags. So my college football teams, the Oregon Ducks, the Boise State Broncos, the Florida Gators, and the Michigan State Spartans. And all those teams competed in different leagues for almost always. Now Oregon joined the Big Ten, and it's a whole thing. Rugby's the sport I played that I was probably best at, and I do continue to enjoy watching rugby. For any international sports, like I'll always cheer for Canada. Just outside of hockey, they're not usually one of the best teams, so they're often not even qualifying for tournaments. Say Soccer World Cup, we're rarely in that. And so, yeah, in rugby, I cheer for the All Blacks. That's New Zealand. I like watching them in 7s and 15s. There's something about their style of just like, we're just going to beat you with like speed and ferocity, like speed and strength. And, they're rarely like playing a methodical, strategic style and just crushing people. I've always, been a fan of them. On the soccer side, internationally, country I cheer for the most other than Canada is Germany. You and I have some German heritage on our mum's side, and very different than the All Blacks. I like Germany's traditional style of like just being like clinically more organized than everyone else. Like just more passing, better passing, and overwhelming teams with organization. I always like that. My favorite league to watch in soccer is English Premier League, and my team is Tottenham Hotspur. It's a North London team, and I think those are kind of my teams. I've skipped a big one. Edmonton Oilers in hockey. Obviously, since I grew up in Edmonton, still live in Edmonton, I'm an Oilers fan. And get to live with all the heartbreak that comes with that. And I like basketball quite a bit, and I love that Canada is getting more competitive on an international stage. But I don't have any NBA teams that I long-term cheer for. There's that. In terms of actual events, there's a few that stand out. I'll go through some of them quickly. So we're able to sit like blue line, center ice-ish at an Oilers game, front row at Rogers Place against the Flames, actually. And that was amazing. Just every collision against the boards you like feel. Yeah. It's like highly experiential, and kind of scary, to be honest. Like it's like, I don't know, it can be a little bit intimidating. That's a top one for me. You and I recently went to Boston together, and experiencing Fenway Park and going to a Red Sox game there was phenomenal. I find live baseball just incredible to watch, and televised baseball just okay. An amazing experience. The third and last one I'll mention is going to a football game at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. Just the whole area is beautiful, but the Rose Bowl is just so iconic, and I've been to a couple of games there. Never the actual Rose Bowl, that would be even better, but UCLA plays home games there, and awesome old stadium. Good experience.
Very cool.
Next question.
All right, your favorite comfort foods. I was also curious if you had kind of, I don't know, 3 favorite local restaurants, that sort of thing.
Okay. Again, anyone that knows me knows I like food. And there's a lot of foods that I love. Some that stand out is like comforting food. Ramen. When it's good, it's good. And when it's bad, it's not that good. Pizza. Very different than ramen. When it's good, it's good. And when it's bad, it's still kind of good. And Thai curry was the other one that I thought of. It just like, kind of like ramen, it like warms your soul. And I know it's your stomach that it's warming, but I chose to interpret this question restaurants here in Edmonton. Just going internationally just felt
Too vast.
too fast, yeah. And one of them connects with the Thai curry thing. Saife, it's Thai and Lao cuisine, and it's close and it's amazing, very delicious. We eat there a lot.
I love Saife.
Yeah, I know. I'm appealing to the interviewer on that one. Another one's my favorite burger place. So it's called Flatboy Burgers. They used to operate out of a like really old curling rink
Right.
in, I don't even know what area, kind of greater Bonnie Doon area. They've since partnered with, or I don't know, the ownership group might be the same, who knows. But it's a distillery kind of tap room and restaurant called Shitties, 2Ds, not the swear. And they now serve Flatboy out of that kind of distillery tap room, and they're just amazing. It's like the most similar thing to getting like an In-N-Out double that you can get here. And really, I probably should have put a In-N-Out double as like my comfort food, animal style, obviously. Third restaurant here in Edmonton is Sabor. It's downtown. It is like Portuguese, Spanish influenced seafood. Traditionally, Edmonton has not had amazing seafood, but Sabor is chef's kiss. Very good. And yeah, we had an amazing experience. I think we went there for Valentine's Day this calendar year. And they did like a preset, like kind of 3-course meal. And the dessert, like everything was amazing and perfect. But the dessert was like made by one of the servers. Like one of the servers makes like desserts out of her home kitchen or something. And then the like restaurant like paid her, to do these. And it was like a mini shareable red velvet cake, and it was the best red velvet cake I've ever had. The food's amazing, but the experience is also quite incredible.
If I were to travel somewhere just to eat at a restaurant, this is not on our list, but is there somewhere where you would have me travel to just to eat there?
Yeah, sure.
First one that comes to your mind.
So just to eat at one restaurant or to like experience the local food?
Interpret it how you want. First one that comes to your mind.
Okay, I'll go both. It's the same. It's Tokyo.
Nice.
The food scene in Tokyo is just incredible, and you can get really cheap eats to really expensive eats, and the concentration of restaurants is incredible.
Do you remember
But
the name of a restaurant?
I don't actually remember the name, but we could look it up. It's a ramen place
Maybe
in
we'll
Tokyo,
add it in post.
Okay. And Daniel had previously done a trip to Japan, and that was like the group's favorite ramen that they had done. So I got the advantage of Daniel doing a bunch of ramen and then taking me to the best place.
Right.
And they had this like, so only one employee working the whole thing, and it's just like the chef behind the counter. So you seat yourself, you order, and it's like really old metal machine where you just like press one of the handful of buttons that are to order.
Yeah.
And then you like hand the guy, you like put your receipt on the counter and he makes it. So it was cheap. It was like amazingly delicious. The experience was like quite different than what we'd get here. And yeah, I'd go back to Japan just for ramen.
Cool. All right.
Next question.
Is there a future, I don't know, this is kind of a weird question, but I was curious if you have like hopes for a future invention or something that you hope kind of happens technology-wise, that sort of thing.
This one was a really easy question for me to answer. I came up with like 3 answers just real quick. One of them is just some form of like instantaneous travel or near instantaneous travel, whether that's like you walk into like a checkpoint that transports you to a different checkpoint. It's magic or science or whatever it is. Something that's, near instantaneous travel, so you could, go to Tokyo for a bowl of ramen and come home.
Yeah. Fireplace to fireplace.
Fireplace would be great.
There's a name for that. Flu powder or something.
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
This is a selfish one, I guess, but maybe it'll be for other people. Just some significant advancement in neurohealing. Something that could understand my condition better and heal it, but also just like heal concussions right away.
Yeah.
I feel like concussion healing is just like waiting for swelling to go down for the most part. So yeah, understanding the brain way better and then having treatments for things that we don't have treatments for.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one is way less important, but easily the coolest one. And that's like an actual hoverboard, like depicted in Back to the Future 2. Like a skateboard shaped board that actually hovers on the ground.
Yeah.
I just really want to do a kickflip in the air and land back on the air. Just be the best.
Amazing.
Next question.
Not to sound like a job interview, but what do you feel like your biggest strengths are?
Wrote down 4, and they're just 4 that came kind of quickly to my mind. Hardworking, caring, loyal, and fun.
Nice. I think Dwight Schrute is asked what word best describes him, and he lists off like, I don't know, alpha male, insatiable, and like...
Do you think jackhammer?
Jackhammer or something. I don't know. There's like 5 different words. So if you could pass on a future message to... Just a message to a, kind of the future generation, what would it be?
My time here, I've learned what brings me peace and happiness, and so I'll share that with the audience. It's all about finding, building, and maintaining meaningful relationships. And there might be a technical term for this. I don't know. Meaningful is just what I call it. But meaningful relationships must be reciprocal, respectful, safe, vulnerable, and include communicating about important things. You can't avoid discussing the things that like weigh on your soul and have it be a meaningful relationship. Hope that everyone can understand that and then apply it and have meaningful relationships.
It's a really good message. I think that this is my last question.
Last question.
What would you say your mantra is, or kind of life motto, that sort of thing? I think of Dad's, and I don't even know if this is accurate, but his is kind of like work hard, play hard.
Yeah, or give respect, get respect.
Yeah. What's the Hard Rock Cafe love?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Anyways, I think that's another one of his. But
Okay.
I was curious about yours.
I'd say I haven't traditionally had specific one or ones, but I have recently come up with 3. And I'll share these 3. Fight for kindness. I just really think that kindness is important. When I think back on my life at what I regret, it's usually just times I wasn't kind or inclusive or charitable, things like that. And I never regret being kind. And there's an important distinction. Like, I do think that people need to learn to protect themselves while still being kind and respectful. Being kind doesn't mean like putting yourself at risk to be, vulnerable or taken advantage of. Second one, ride forever. This one's a little bit less maybe immediately understandable. I'll give just a really short kind of background. I found that when I was starting my career in my mid-20s that I felt like I had to dress a certain way, groom myself a certain way, and act more mature. And so I felt like I was like just changing myself. And looking back on it, I'm like embarrassed. It's like I didn't need to be not me. I could just be me. And So I look back at that with some embarrassment, and once I got to like my late 20s, early 30s, I started just dressing and grooming the way I wanted, but I also felt more comfortable with myself and with like my hobbies and interests that I actually liked. Right, like I used to be like a little bit embarrassed that I liked Pokemon, so I wouldn't like be outright about really loving Pokemon. And then it was like, I don't really care what people think, I'm just gonna like the things I like. And some of that is that like I still enjoy snowboarding and skateboarding and riding motorcycles, even when some of my friends have kind of like matured out of some of those hobbies. Those are things that have just really stuck with me. And so that's kind of where the ride comes from. Those are all, sports hobbies that you ride, and the forever ties into this just be who you are and who you want to be. Don't change because you want to fit in or something like that. The ride forever is really be who you are all the time and don't feel like you need to change that. The third and last one is love never dies. When I think about passing and not, existing here on earth physically, I've thought about what of me gets left behind, what remains, and I think like memories is something that would jump out to a lot of people. It's also like an important theme in the movie Coco, family and loved ones, maintaining memories of a deceased person. Something that I think also exists beyond someone's life is their love. If other people really felt love from that person, I think that even after they pass, they can still feel that love, and that it can continue to have some sort of lasting impact. And so, love never dies comes from my belief that even though I'll die, that my love can live on with people after I'm gone.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Thanks. And feels like a fitting place to end the video.
Yeah.
I'll do a quick little outro.
Yeah.
Jordan, thanks for joining the video. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And to the viewers, I hope that watching our brotherly interactions helped you get to know both of us a little bit better.
And I'm glad we have a record. Anyways, we probably don't need to include that, but
It's okay. Peace out.